Site surveillance of production nurseries, greenlife markets, and growing media manufacturers is a risk assessment process designed to identify production risks including pest populations, diseases, weed growth, erosion, and infrastructure failure. The following video is a practical demonstration of the site surveillance procedure applied on a production nursery. Monitoring must be performed routinely and consistently by trained personnel known as authorised inspection persons. Authorised inspection persons can be owners, paid employees, or contractors with a knowledge of the plants being inspected, their associated pests and diseases, and site surveillance procedures. The authorised inspection person uses the site map along with recent and historical surveillance records to develop the site surveillance plan by identifying high-risk areas within the site associated with the production and storing of plants and growing media, wind, topographical features, pedestrian, vehicular traffic, and vegetation. A range of inspection equipment is required to perform the site inspection efficiently. The inspection procedure can be done more effectively by using a pouch to carry the equipment. The whole production site must be inspected according to the requirements of the site surveillance plan and the inspection process completed on the same day. The surveillance must be conducted in a structured regime determined by crop production cycles, seasonal risks, and historical surveillance results, and must be at intervals of not more than 14 days. Surveillance areas are prioritised from highest impact to lowest impact based on the potential to spread plant pests. During the surveillance, look for anomalies in vegetation and any ground disturbances, paying particular attention to areas on the windward side of the site which can vary seasonally, areas bordering native vegetation, waterways, water storage areas, drains, fence lines or other uncultivated areas, high traffic areas such as driveways, car parks, delivery and dispatch areas, paths and entrances to the site. Inspect storage areas and nearby vegetation that are infrequently accessed, such as spare construction materials, as well as areas where organic wastes are disposed. Use flagging tape or another marker to mark key indicator plant species for regular surveillance. Vary the starting point of the surveillance and alter the rotation to give a varying perspective of the objects being inspected. Walk through any vegetated areas at random in a zigzag pattern. Follow the same general pattern at each surveillance activity, inspecting the key indicator plants and various areas identified on the site plan. Randomly select appropriate and representative plants for inspection, particularly damaged plants, plants lacking vigour, and plants with potential disease symptoms. Particularly select those plants that appear less healthy for visual inspection. Inspect the top side and underside of selected leaves for evidence of pests and disease. Check all surfaces of flower heads, especially under petals and sepals. Suspicious marks, lesions, or invertebrates should be viewed using a hand lens and suspect plant pests and diseases sampled for further identification. During individual plant inspection, strike the foliage over a white sheet of paper or a paper plate to dislodge small pests, primarily mites and thrips, for easier viewing. When problems are identified, increase the number of plants inspected and identify the area with flagging tape or another marker. If suspect quarantine pests are detected, the inspection is stopped and the business's BioSecure HACCP certification controller is notified. Determine the number of plants with symptoms of disease or insect injury to establish the potential threat. Record the pest numbers present, the presence or absence of quarantine pests and diseases, weed growth, erosion, infrastructure damage, and other site problems on the site surveillance record sheet. Using an identification guide, identify any samples collected. Expert opinion should be sought if problems are difficult to identify. More information can be found in the BioSecure HACCP guidelines. This video has been produced by the Nursery and Garden Industry Queensland and supported by the Nursery and Garden Industry Australia and Horticulture Australia Limited. Special thanks go to Sunshine Coast tube stock growers. For further information, contact your state or territory association or NGIA.